and welcome to our virtual CAO information evening. I would like to welcome all of our attendees to this event virtually this evening. Our first session today, we are joined by our amazing student ambassadors. So I'm joined by Neil, Siobhan, Dara and Chloe this evening. We're going to chat to you for about 15 minutes. It's an open Q&A where if you have any questions for them directly, they'll be more than happy to have them. I have some prep questions for the guys that I'll kick off with first, but I'll let the guys introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves for about 30 seconds so that you guys can get to know them a little bit more on a personal level. So Neil, do you want to kick us off and introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, so my name is Neil Corcoran. I'm a fourth year quantity surveying student. So I'm in my final semester at the moment. So I've been in AIT in TUS straight from college, or straight from secondary school and straight into college. So I've come the whole way through. Brilliant.
And Chloe, what about yourself?
Hi guys, thanks for joining. I'm a second year student and this is my first time on campus, but I feel like a first year student because I still don't fully know my way around, but it's really good to be on campus. And
yeah, that's perfect. Siobhan, what about yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Siobhan Cusick. I'm in final year of Applied Bioscience. I have graduated from the veterinary nursing programme here in TUS as well.
Perfect. And Dara, last but not least, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Dara. I'm a third year digital marketing student and I'm enjoying being in TUS.
Brilliant. So I think it's important as well that we just reiterate to viewers today that obviously a lot of people that might be watching today are obviously maybe just getting to know TUS and what we're all about. So as Neil mentioned, we were obviously previously AIT, and as of the 1st of October, we joined up with our partners in the Midwest and we have formed the Technological University of the Shannon. So if anyone has any questions in relation to that process or the CAO or anything like that, we are more than happy to answer them on the live stream one. So there's a CAO talk at 6:15 for anyone that might be interested in that. But to jump back to the student ambassadors, I'm going to talk to them a little bit about their transition to third level, which you as attendees this evening watching might be a little bit worried about or anxious about. I know that changing from second level can sometimes be a bit daunting. So Neil, you already mentioned that in your little intro piece. So do you want to talk to us about your transition to third level? You've obviously decided to study locally and things like that. So do you want to talk a little bit more in detail with that?
Yeah, so I finished secondary school in 2018 in Mo Community School, and I travelled into Athlone to go to college. So I'm originally from Ferban, so I commute in and out to college every day. So I've been doing so for the last 4 years. So like the transition from secondary school to third level education, it's not a huge jump to make. You get an awful lot more freedom. You can kind of do your own thing. It's kind of more up to you. So if anyone is kind of nervous or anxious, I suppose, about the transition from second level to third level, really don't be worried. Like it's so much freer. Like it's just a lot better.
Brilliant. I think something that you mentioned is really important as well, Neil, specifically with the fact this year we obviously now have a university in the Midlands and we might have a few local people watching that might be interested obviously in the fact that this new university is right on their doorstep. But how do you find studying locally and living at home? Do you mind the commute into work every day? Do you work part-time as well? And do you do your studies? How does that kind of work out for you living at home?
Yeah, so for 2 years I was working in a local fast food restaurant, and then in my placement year I got placement with a company based in Tullamore. So obviously I'm doing quantity surveying, so I got in with Tower Civil Engineering in Tullamore, and I've been working there part-time on a Friday for the last year. So in regards to traveling every day, like it really doesn't bother me. Like I'm only 10-15 minutes away, so it's grand. Like it's an awful lot more convenient than traveling up on a train or whatever to Dublin or going to Galway. So
brilliant. And Siobhan, I'm going to jump to you next. Obviously, you mentioned the fact that you have done your level 7 in veterinary nursing. Obviously, veterinary nursing is one of our most popular courses into Athlone, evidently. And a lot of the time when we're talking to students, they are always interested in what like large animal and small animal and things like that are, and how your placement works, and obviously going to Gertrude and things like that. But I don't want to go into too much detail in relation to the course, but how did you find maybe the work placement, and did you find the transition going into a course like that easy? Is there a lot of lab work kind of side of this for a student?
Yeah, so I suppose I completed my Leaving Cert originally in 2013, so I'd done a course previous.
Okay.
So when I applied it was AIT at the time. I applied a bit differently because I was applying as a mature student.
Yes.
So when I arrived, I was really kind of apprehensive because I was like, oh, I haven't been in college in a little while and what's it going to be like? But I must say it was a really enjoyable experience. Even the first day, we were brought around to all the labs to meet all the lecturers, and I suppose they have the experience because, you know, many of them have worked as vet nurses or as vets. The highlight for the course for me over the 3 years was the work placement. I'm not sure if it's changed, but currently it is completed throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And you make so many contacts, you make so many friends, so many experiences, you learn so many skills that for me, I found I excelled much better when I was on placement than, you know, you do learn your practical skills in the labs as well, but definitely on placement. And as I said, you complete a small animal, a large animal and an equine placement. So it's a very diverse course.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And Dara, just to come to yourself, you're obviously a digital marketing student. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your side of studies and maybe what your highlight of digital marketing is?
Yeah, absolutely. So in digital marketing, we do a lot of stuff that involves like learning how to advertise online. It was a course that really fitted me, and I didn't realize until I actually got into it. I was lucky and kind of like almost chose blind, but yeah, no, I was really lucky to get into it, and it fit me so well. So my highlight of the course would probably be a lot of the like video projects that we do. I enjoy those a lot because I get to show my skills on camera as well as you know, show my creative skills. So yeah, I'm happy to do the video and animation aspects.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And Chloe, I'm going to come to yourself, obviously last but not least. You're obviously a social care student. Do you want to tell me a little bit maybe about your highlight or why you chose that course?
Yeah, so social care is so diverse. Like, you can really go into anything, and it leads to so many opportunities. So there's like homelessness, addiction, and like it's all about advocating for like the rights of your clients and like really vulnerable people of society. And in May, I'm actually going out on placement, which I'm really excited about, and I'm going out for 8 weeks, and I'm actually going to go back to Limerick and do that. So I'm really excited, and I'm just excited to get the experience, really.
Brilliant. And guys, I think I'm going to open this up to you as a for the last couple of minutes. So it's going to be a bit of a fire round, okay? So each of you tell me what your favorite place on campus is. Neil.
The gym, easily the gym.
Okay, Chloe.
The canteen. You get to meet with all your friends there, so.
Brilliant. Siobhan.
I'm actually going to say the library.
Okay.
it's peace and quiet.
Yeah, good. Okay, I would have always been a library person as well. Dara?
Definitely outside by the fountain. It's really peaceful.
Okay, lovely. Do you use the gym often, Neil?
Yeah, so with obviously being a student, you get the 12-month membership for, I think, is it €179? So it's an absolute bargain. Like, it works out to something like €3 a week. Yeah. So absolutely brilliant.
Siobhan, in the library, do you like to study by yourself or do you study in groups?
I'm better studying by myself.
Yes, I'm the same, definitely. Dara, when you're outside by the fountain, do you your lunch there? Do you have your chats with your friends? What kind of bits and bobs do you get up to outside?
It's a great place to video stuff because there's great backgrounds there and there's great light out there as well.
Lovely. And Chloe, what about yourself?
Yeah, I love the canteen. Like, I had a 3-hour break yesterday and I decided to sit in the canteen and have coffee with my friends. Like, I live across the road, so I could have easily went home for those 3 hours.
Perfect, no problem. Thanks a million. And our next session is going to be engineering and informatics. We're going to be joined by our heads of department, Breda, Allen and Enda, and we're also going to be joined by our Dean of Faculty, Sean Lyons. So thanks a million, everybody, and make sure to tune in to our next session.
information evening. My name is Dr. Sean Lyons. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Informatics on the Athlone campus of TUS, or TUS Midlands. I'm joined tonight by my colleagues, Breed Lynch, Dr. Enda Fallon, and Alan Duffy, who are the heads of Department of Mechanical, Polymer and Design, Computer Software Engineering, and Civil Engineering and Trades, respectively. So in the Faculty of Engineering and Informatics on the Athlone campus, we have a range of programs from level 6 to level 8. Many of them are 4-year programs. Some of them are 3-year programs with add-ons, 2-year programs with add-ons, etc. And we're here tonight to help you demystify some of the program offerings, what the opportunities are, why the programs are designed the way they are, and what the opportunities are after finishing the programs, as well as discussing things like work placements, projects, and the general semester layout. So we're here to take questions, and we're delighted to be joined by you. So we're happy to take any questions you guys have. Okay, so to kick off, I think it might be as well if we do a quick rundown of each department. Breda, I'm looking at you first because you're beneath me on the screen. So if you don't mind, would you take people through the offerings in the Mechanical, Polymer and Design department, please?
Sure, yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. You're very welcome. So Sean said I've a couple of areas to the department. So in the mechanical, we offer a range of programs in pure mechanical, mechanical and renewable, mechanical and polymer. And we have also an automation and robotics stream. Now, new to this year's CAO, which we're very excited about, is the new level 8 offerings. So we have a level 8 offering in mechanical engineering. So it's 4 years ab initio. We also have a level 8 in mechanical engineering with energy. So that's mechanical, but obviously with the sustainability, renewable slant. And we have a new level 8 in automation and robotics. And again, these are all 4-year ab initio programs. So we're very excited about this. All of these programs will include a placement in year 3, and they will join in with our current mechanical and polymer, which is also a level 8 4-year ab initio, which we have had on for a number of years now. So I suppose moving across then to the animation and design side of the department, we have a 4-year ab initio in animation and illustration, the only one of its kind in the country, with both animation and illustration included in it. And it is based on a portfolio entry assessment as well as the CEO entry. And most of you will be familiar with that. We have a level 7 graphic design with potentially a 1-year add-on. So you could come to a level 8 that route. We have a level 8 ab initio also in graphic design. Graphic and digital design really is the slant of it. And our last offering then is in music and sound engineering. And we have level 7s and a level 6 offering also. So that's kind of a clean sweep. Most of our programs in mechanical are split maybe 50-50 between lab and lecturing. And then obviously on the design side, we have, it's all studio based and lab based. And in music, it's probably 50-50. So that's a clean kind of whistle stop tour, and happy to take any more specific questions. I believe there's a fair bit there.
There is. So, but before we get move on to Enda and Alan, I'm just going to spin out a few of the questions that we're receiving here. So the first is, do I need to have studied engineering in Leaving Cert to apply for mechanical engineering? Well, Breda, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. There's no need to have studied engineering. There's no prerequisite as such. Obviously, if you've studied engineering, you probably would be familiar with maybe a technical drawing or maybe workshop technology, and maybe you might have done something in the physics chemistry side also. There's no need or no requirement whatsoever. We have students who have, it's all based on your overall Leaving Cert as opposed to anything specific.
And one more for you, Breda, is did any of the previous students branch out into the agricultural side of mechanical engineering?
Branch out, I suppose, means afterwards, when they had their levels of level 8. Look, our graduates go to all disciplines. everything from light engineering to medical engineering to automotive, into construction. It depends on, I suppose, your own flavour, and there's opportunities across the board. Without knowing specifically where people went, I would say if we were to do the stats, we would find people in those sectors.
Yeah, there's a few other questions there about the social life in Athlone. I see some text answers. I suppose I may as well be honest. I came to Athlone as a student myself, and I'm still here many years later. There's loads to do in the town. There's a great atmosphere, I think, in the town. There's lots of recreational activities, some great places to go out and eat and drink as well. And there's a lot of clubs and societies, not just around the college, but around the town in general to involve yourself in. So at this point, I think there's one more question for you, Rita. What's the level of maths like throughout mechanical engineering and automation and robotics?
Okay, so you'll be relieved to know it's a question that comes up on a regular basis. Is honours maths is not a requirement, but you have had to have passed maths. Foundation maths isn't suitable. It starts on the basis that you are working from almost ground zero, and the maths will feed into your other modules, like into mechanics, and the maths really is a support module. It helps feed into other modules that are on the program. It's not a standalone module, and provided you're working away and doing regular work on it and attending classes, you'll have no issue if you've passed maths in the Leaving Cert. It does go all the way up to 4th year, but it probably becomes in less subjects as it goes up through the years, probably more sophisticated, but in less subjects.
And I think it's worth pointing out that we have a full-time maths tutor in the Faculty of Engineering as well, who does one-to-one tutoring and group tutoring. So I suppose maths is a key part of engineering, but it's very applied when we're doing it on the courses. It's very aimed at the course you're doing, and there's loads and loads of support. So there's nothing to be worried about there. Before I pass over to Enda or Alan, there is a question: where's the nicest place to eat in town? That is very much up for debate. I'll give you my 10 cents. I absolutely love Time, the restaurant. I think it's fantastic. And I absolutely love a decent pizza and a beer in Dead Centre Brewing, but that's me. And I assume my colleagues will all argue with me as we go through it. So at this point, I'm going to pass over to Alan Duffy, and Alan might give you an idea of the programs that are running in the Department of Civil Engineering and Trades.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. We have two kind of key parts to our department. We have the construction side of it, and we have the civil engineering side of it. So when I kick off with construction, we have two programs on the CAO. We have our Bachelor of Science Honours in Quantity Surveying. It's AL 810. It's a 4-year ab initio degree. It's a very interesting program, very high level of demand for the graduates. So we have an extensive placement in 3rd year. So our graduates after the first semester of 3rd year, they go on placement, which lasts right up until the beginning of 4th year, so about 8 months. And that's an accredited program, accredited by the Society of Chartered Surveyors under the umbrella of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And just recently, actually today, the Morgan McKinley report on recruitment has put quantity surveying as the most sought after position with the highest level of growth in salary for average salaries at the moment in Ireland. So very, very promising career to get into, and I suppose I'm biased, it's my own profession originally. So that's our 4-year degree in quantity surveying. The other program in our construction side is our construction management. Again, a 4-year ab initio program, AL 812. And similar to the quantity surveying program, got a very useful placement element in 3rd year. So after semester 1 of 3rd year, you go on placement for up to 8 months, giving you a great springboard into employment post-graduation. We find our 4th years come back completely illuminated in terms of their ability to take in what we're giving them. So we're very proud of that program, and that's also a 4-year honours degree. Flipping over then to the construction, from the construction over to the civil engineering side of the house, we have I suppose 2 types of offerings. We have a 4-year ab initio honours degree in civil engineering, which is AL 811, and that one requires higher level maths. So I guess it'll address a question that Breda was asked in her presentation. You require a H4 in higher level maths to come into that program. It's a 4-year ab initio. It's accredited by Engineers Ireland, or it's part of our accreditation process for Engineering Ireland. So there's a route to chartered engineer out of that program. The honours maths can be an issue for people. It has a placement again in our fourth year for that program. Again, a very useful feature of it. The other part of civil engineering is our ordinary degree. So it's a 3-year ordinary degree, which is AL 721, and that does not require honours maths. You need an 06 in ordinary maths for that program. Now, the advantage with that is when you complete that 3-year degree, you have the option of completing a 2-year add-on, essentially sitting into the final 2 years of the other honours degree program and essentially come out with the same honours degree, but on a 5-year route. Likewise, that would give you a route to chartership. It's under our chartered umbrella. And again, both of those sizes of our department, all those 3 or 4 programs, very, very high level of demand for graduates, huge opportunities for the students to get well paid on their placements. So it's a great time to consider a career in the construction and civil engineering industry. And we're run off our feet dealing with employers and industry groups, seeking that we promote and get as many of you guys to think about this as possible in the months and years ahead. Okay, Sean?
So there's a few questions in there, Alan, and I'm going to answer one myself, which is, there's a question there, is the timetable full on or is there time off during the week? So I suppose that depends. Every course is slightly different and every semester is slightly different, but you're never going to work 45, 50 hours a week in lectures. The most of our lecturing load, the maximum would probably be somewhere around 26, 28, maybe 30 hours on individual semesters. And that would be very high. Typically speaking, you do more contact hours or more lectures early on in a course, as in first year and second year, with it tapering down as you get near the end, because we're expecting you to do more work in the library and study outside of classes. So self-directed learning becomes a part of it. You're always working in the sense that you're always going to be doing some college lectures, or you're going to have assignments due, or you're going to be doing some studying and projects, but there's plenty of time to get involved in societies and everything else. And I think the key, if you ask anybody who's graduating or anybody who's going through, the key is always time management and organization. There's plenty of time there. It's what you do with it is up to yourself. Alan, I think just to go back on one of the points, I think you made it there already, but just to reiterate it about the, if you don't do higher level maths and you do want to do that level 8 of civil engineering, the option is there. So you complete the level 7, which is a 3-year program. You come into that level 7 program. And once you finish that level 7, you effectively go into the final 2 years of the level 8. And that makes up for the lack of honours maths and still gets you that chartered engineer.
Yeah, and there is an alternative, a third prong to that. We offer a matriculation process in August of the entry year. So anybody who doesn't make the H4 in honours maths, if they've attempted honours maths, they can come and take our matric. So we're really trying to reach out to schools and encourage students. And there are a high number who attempt honours maths and maybe don't get the H4. So we have a matric process. So we bring the students in for a number of days of tuition, and then we offer them matric exams. And that's a very high success rate. And the students who come through that, we feel are very well enabled for the program. So it's definitely not something that should be written off on the maths side of things.
There's one other question in there for you, Alan, is where could you do your work placement for quantity surveying?
Well, we have very strong levels of connection with industry. I've worked for a long number of years, and all of the faculty have worked for a long number of years in industry, and perhaps some of them have come into lecture through a part-time route. So the type of companies we've worked with would be the biggest engineering and construction firms in Ireland. So if you look at any of the publications about who are the top 20, the top 40 construction firms on building, mechanical, electrical installation, they've all had our graduates and our placement students over the years. The other big area would be with consultancies, organizations that represent clients. So for quantity surveying, some of the bigger names in industry, Linesight, Turner Townsend, Mulcahy McDonough, these sorts of companies have all employed our students on placement and taken our graduates, and we have strong connections with them. The placement is an interesting topic. We get a lot of questions. We try our best to place students, but in preference, we encourage students to get their own placement. It looks better, it shows the initiative of the student, but there's definitely the safety net there where we will organise the placement in the absence of the student getting their own placement. So definitely a great feature of the program. It really gives it its unique selling point.
There's a question from an EU mature student candidate here about the English proficiency test to get into the TUS and around us accepting Duolingo. I know, for example, that IELTS is our standard test for entry, but currently we are accepting Duolingo. primarily due to the COVID scenario and the reality that it's very difficult to get an IELTS exam at the minute. So Duolingo is currently being accepted. Breda, just to pop back to you there and ask you about the portfolio for the animation course. Could you explain that a little bit, please?
Okay, so this year we're requiring a minimum of 1 completed sketchbook, and we're requiring between 8 and 10 completed pieces of work. Now, as regards the portfolio, the full details are on the web for the portfolio, because it goes into quite specific details there on types of work that has to be submitted. But it's a minimum of 1 sketchbook. It doesn't have to be more than that. People might feel, well, do I need to put in more than 1? But 1 full sketchbook is all that's required. If you have other items that you'd like to send in, so be it. There's also information on the website about page numbering and the extent that your final pieces should be. So it's a minimum of 1 full sketchbook and 8 to 10 completed pieces. Once the student has applied, they will be called for a portfolio assessment day, either the 3rd or the 4th of March. There will be the option to submit it electronically if students prefer that. And if COVID dictates, then we will be doing it electronically. Keep an eye on the website, because there's a good section there. And as we get more frequently asked questions, we upload it. And there's quite a bit of detail there. So I would say just keep referring to that for the regular updates.
There's one other question before we move on to Enda, which is about the new engineering teaching course. So yes, we are this September taking in our first entry into the Bachelor of Education in Technology, Engineering and Graphics. And this program is being delivered jointly between TUS here in Athlone and our colleagues in DCU. So effectively, the main gist of the program will be you'll do the first 2 years primarily on the Athlone campus and the second 2 years primarily with DCU. Now, we'll both do some lecturing individually during those 4 years, but the majority of it will be based in the first 2 years in Athlone, and the majority of it will be based in the second 2 years in Dublin. And there's a lot of, obviously, teacher placement. So the idea is this: once we get the final accreditation by the Teaching Council, we'll be qualified to teach technology, engineering and design communications graphics is the role of it. It's being run by an incredible group of extremely experienced educators whose whole careers are based around teacher education. So we're very excited about the program. We're in the middle of putting in place bespoke facilities specifically for this in the engineering building. So I think it's going to be cutting edge. I think it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm really passionate about the opportunity this program is going to give people. I do think it'll be competitive to get into the program, to be honest, but I think it's going to be an exciting program to be involved in. Enda, we might swap over to you. You've been sitting there silently taking it all in, and if you could give us a quick overview of the computer and software engineering department, please.
Thank you very much. I'm still thinking about the very important question of which restaurant and pub to go to in Athlone, so I've been mulling that over my head. So I might give you an option on that later on. I suppose the computer and software engineering department is very similar to Breda and Alan's department in that it's very practically oriented. So like all of the courses in TUS, we are very focused on our industrial partners in the local area, and our courses are aligned in that way. So we would have about 70 companies that we have contracted to research with, so signed contracts with. And we really focus our courses on providing industry-ready graduates for those partners. So at postgraduate level, we have 6 master's programs. On the CAO, similarly, we have 6 programs. And those programs are available at level 7 and at level 8. So they're all related to software. There's a huge need for software engineers in the country. You know, there's a huge number of software engineers coming from abroad to work in Ireland, and it's creating a really interesting environment to work in. So our courses are structured into software design and computer engineering. And I suppose the easiest way to explain that is that computer engineering is software for hardware. So if you've got an interest in networking or autonomous vehicles or, body sensor networks or high performance sport or whatever the area is, computer engineering will be for you. You're basically looking at seeing how you can use software for hardware. And then the software design side is what they call application software. So the areas in software design will be virtual and augmented reality, artificial intelligence.
And just like that, we've lost Enda. So artificial intelligence, he was obviously getting far too close to the matrix, and it decided to cut him off. So while Enda comes back on, there's a couple of questions there, and I can zip through them. The first of them is, Rita, this is really for you. Is it possible for a mature student to study the 3-year level 7 in mechanical engineering and work at night time? And I suppose I think it is. I think it's certainly possible. I think it's a bit of a challenge, obviously, in terms of time management and work. But yes, it is possible. It's also possible, I think it's important to note, to study any course by access. So you don't have to do the 3-year program in 3 years. You can study it over the course of a little bit longer. You can spread it out. What do you think, Rita?
Yeah, sure. I was just going to say evening work will be challenging, but will be possibly to be balanced by somebody who's very dedicated. It's really the daytime engagement in continuous attendance at lectures and labs and practicals. Once that's covered, I think people find their own time and the best way to study. I'd be more concerned if somebody said, could I work part-time during the day? I would have to say nearly no to that. And just to say, all of the level 8s that I mentioned there at the start, they all have embedded level 7s. So for anybody who thinks level 8 is a bit of a stretch or they're concerned that the points might be too high, the level 7 is the very same program, just over 3 years, obviously. And you can come back then at a later stage or just follow on to do the 1-year add-on and get your level 8. No, sorry. Thanks.
Thanks, Breda. And you were getting a bit too close to artificial intelligence. And
I did. And the whole thing went. So I live in a rural area, Sean, and I think that actually illustrates over the last 2 years the importance of network connectivity and ICT. Years ago, you'd build a house and you'd put in water and you'd put in electricity, and it shows the importance of broadband and how ICT has become so important in recent years.
I think you did it on purpose, and to give an example personally.
Absolutely. I knocked it with my knee there. So I was in full flight there before I got rudely interrupted by my own broadband connection.
Well, luckily you being rudely interrupted has allowed people to write some questions. So excellent. Now I can ask you some questions. The first one up is, in the software courses, is there placements and whereabouts are they if they're there?
Absolutely. So in year 3, there's a 6-month placement that goes from January until June. And that's embedded in all our programs at level 7 and level 8. It's really trying to link those industrial partners back. And what we typically find is people that go out and do the placement, they potentially will get a project in 4th year and potentially get a position in with those companies. So it's a great opportunity.
And the next question up for you, Enda, there is, what does the autonomous systems course entail and what would they be learning?
Yeah, it's a really interesting course. So if you take Breda's area and on the mechanical side, so what you may have is, for example, an autonomous robot. And what we want to be able to do is to take the information from that robot and to use artificial intelligence on it to fine tune. For example, if you can think of it in a very specific way, you're looking at an autonomous vehicle driving and you want to improve the accuracy of the braking. What you would do is you would collect the data from thousands of vehicles, and then you use an artificial intelligence would fine tune the braking mechanism, and then you'd implement it back in the car. So it's a primary concentration on the mechanical device, the embedded systems, the networking, and the artificial intelligence. So it's a really interesting course, and there's a huge overlap with Breda's department on that.
Okay, and we're just coming close to the end now. So Breda, we've got one more question for you, and I'm going to ask you to sum this up in under a minute. Is Can you explain more about what the students do each year for the animation program?
Okay, so in the animation program in first year, all the modules are introductory. There's explorative illustration, there's some basic 2D animation, and they also start their life drawing stream. In second year, it becomes a little bit more advanced, and particularly in the animation, they study 3D animation. And the illustration, again, just more advanced, and the life drawing also progresses. So then the most significant change then is coming into year 3, where the students would engage in a work placement for the second semester. Now, prior to that, they would have had one element in second year to prepare them for the placement. And then the program changes significantly again in fourth year, in that the culmination of all the modules in both illustration and animation and drawing and context studies comes together, where they have an opportunity to identify a single final project, major piece of work that really pulls all their skills together and shows that they're capable of delivering a major piece of work. They get an opportunity to make a proposal for that, and then that is also backed up with a dissertation in fourth year.
Breda, so 2 last questions. I'm going to run through them really quickly. So what would a level 7 in mechanical engineering be guaranteed entry into the level 8 add-on year? So the answer to that is yes, our own level 7 graduates would be guaranteed entry to level 8, and then level 7 graduates from other colleges might be allowed in depending on numbers and our capacity to have them. And the last question is unbelievably generic, is I'm not sure what engineering course to do. What would I recommend? And I suppose from my point of view, it totally depends on your own interests. What I would always say in these cases is engineering is such a diverse field. There's loads of opportunities in it. The best thing to do, I would say, is come along to one of our open days in person, and we'll take you through some examples, and you'll be able to tell us what you like the most. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining the Faculty of Engineering Informatics tonight, and thank Breda and Alan for joining me. I suppose to sum up, our courses, I consider them to be incredibly applied and very much focused on emerging and really exciting fields of engineering that are very much in need, not just regionally, but nationally and internationally. And I think we have a suite of programs that I believe will support many students in having phenomenal careers in engineering. So I'd like to hand you back now to the next session, and thank you all for joining us tonight.
Good evening. My name is Oliver Hegarty. I'm Head of Department of Social Sciences, and I'd like to welcome you all to this evening's session and shortly introduce my colleagues in the Faculty of Science and Health in TUS Midlands. Perhaps I might begin with that, and if I could ask Aoife Lane, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Ali. Hi, everyone. My name is Aoife Lane. I'm Head of Department of Sport and Health Sciences. We've got sports courses and health courses. I'll name them very briefly: sports science with exercise physiology, athletic and rehabilitation therapy, physical activity and health, exercise and health, and nutrition and health. So if any questions are specific to those, I'm happy to answer as we go through the evening. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you very much, Aoife. And I'll hand over to Carmel Keeley.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carmel Keeley. I'm the Head of Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Biotechnology. And again, just to list the programs in my department, we have Pharmaceutical Sciences, Level 7 and Level 8, Biotechnology, Level 7 and 8, Pharmacology degree, again, Level 7 and 8, and a higher cert in Applied Science. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
That's great. Thank you very much, Carmel. Going to move on out to Cormac O'Shea.
Hello, my name is Cormac O'Shea. I'm the Head of Department of Bioveterinary and Microbial Sciences. So our department is responsible for the veterinary nursing degree, the microbiology degree, and the bioveterinary science degree. So look forward to your questions.
Thanks very much, Cormac. And finally, Des Cawley.
Good evening. Thanks, Ali. My name is Des Cawley, and I'm the Head of Department of Nursing and Healthcare. And we offer a variety of programs ranging from general nursing, mental health nursing, at honours degree level, both of which are NIMBY accredited. We also offer a higher cert in dental nursing, which is accredited by the Dental Council. And we also offer level 6 and level 7 in pharmacy technician within our department also. So any questions in those areas, we welcome them all along the way. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Des. And finally, I just end with social sciences. As I said, I'm Head of Department, and we have 3 broad areas in the Department of Social Sciences where we offer undergraduate programs. First is psychology. We introduced a new degree 4 years ago in applied psychology, and that's thriving at the moment. Our second area and broadest area is social care. We have a level 7 and a level 8, 1 3-year, and the level 8 is a 4-year program in social care. And finally, the final area is early years. We have both a level 7 and a level 8 in that sector as well. So thank you. And we will see if we have any questions to kick us off this evening. And at the moment, it looks like there are none currently.
Ali, I might come in there, and I think just to say, I've received a number of queries over the last couple of days from students, and the biggest query that's coming in from them is around the idea of placement sites from Athlone. And I think this is relevant to all our programs, because I think it's an integral part of each one of our programs, that applied nature with placement. So just to say from my own department's perspective, much of our placement is across the Midlands, but indeed we have wider elective placement that takes students to Dublin and to Cork. But the majority of our placement sites are located within the Laois Offaly and Longford Westmeath area. And I think that has been that's always a question for students when they hear about applied programs. And maybe some of my other colleagues there might fill in as well, because I'm sure it is the applied nature of all our programs are really important there.
Okay, thank you very much. And while you're on this, we're now beginning to receive the questions, so we'd like to answer those by calling on my colleagues, the relevant colleague to answer. We begin with, what can I do after a dental nursing degree, Des?
Well, there's a number of things there, Ali. First of all, coming out of our dental nursing program, we have 100% employability. So our careers department actually follow up with our graduates. So we had 96% of all our graduates last year were in full-time employment within 3 months of completing. And the remaining 4% had gone on to further, which is in dental hygiene. Now, we're currently looking at the moment at progression pathways along those lines as well, because there's a new strategy in dental health coming in. So over the next year or so, it's anticipated there will be different pathways beyond that. But the majority, because of the applied nature of the program, the majority go into full-time employment for a number of years directly after.
That's great news. Thank you, Des. And if I could just ask Aoife, can I be a physio from the athletic rehabilitation course?
Yep, there's a few there in athletic and rehabilitation therapy, and it's always the number one question: can I be a physio? You could go on and study physio, but you after this program you can be qualified as a certified athletic therapist, which is a profession in itself. It's like the sports medicine piece of physio. You can work in that in Ireland and overseas. It's fully accredited, and if you wish, you can apply to conversion courses and progression courses in physiotherapy. There's no guaranteed route. We, don't offer that as a definite that you can progress anywhere. But what we will say is you have a career, a profession once you leave. And if you want to progress that to physiotherapy, you have a fantastic stepping stone to do that. Points are quite high, so we're getting a good, credible student that's really capable on that. There's just one other piece, a little bit about the program to cover that off, Ollie. Yeah. It has the athletic therapy piece around injuries. What are they? Then how to treat them. You have a good piece on sports science because, working with athletes is much more than just the injuries piece. And then we would a lot of, like everybody, research and communication skills as well. So that kind of covers, I think, several of those questions, Ollie. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds very flexible. Thank you. If we could ask again one of my colleagues to answer the question, what's the difference between pharmaceutical science and pharmacology?
I'll take that one, Ollie. So it's actually a very, very good question. So on the pharmaceutical science program, we're dealing mainly with the synthesis and formulation of drugs and how we do that. So it's very, very strong in chemistry. Whereas on the pharmacology program, we're looking at drugs and how their action in the body, right from, we'll say, the gene, the cell, the tissue, the organ. So we're looking at how it's metabolized and how it's used and the impact that the drug actually has in the body. So that kind of differentiates the two programs, but it's a really, really good question. Yeah, so the pharmaceutical is formulating, synthesizing, pharmacology, how these drugs actually work.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Carmel. Back to you, if I have a good, could you give me an insight on the athletic and rehabilitation therapy course, just a sort of an overview of that?
Yep. So that's what we talked about there a moment ago. So athletic and rehab therapy it's kind of injuries. It's physio for sport, for want of a better word, where you learn how to diagnose injuries, identify them, but also how to treat them. These are the people who can do the physio and the S&C job almost in one, in terms of getting your player back on the field and helping them through that with nutrition, fitness, conditioning, psychology, that well-rounded approach to that particular issue that an athlete would have. Very sports driven. Yeah.
Great. If I chose to do a degree in applied science, what are my opportunities afterwards in terms of progression, and how difficult would it be to progress to different courses?
Again, a very good question. So our applied science program is level 6, so it's a certificate. You can progress from the level 6 to the level 7 in pharmaceutical science, or the level 7 in biotechnology. So that first 2 years that you do on the applied science program is the exact same 2 years that you will do on any of the other programs offered in our department. So that opportunity there, it's seamless to move from applied science onto either the pharmaceutical science or the biotechnology program.
Very good. Okay. Excellent. That's really helpful. The questions are coming fast and furious, so we're going to fly through them again. Can I be a dietitian if I complete nutrition?
You you again can progress after our program. You can become an accredited nutritionist. So it is an accredited program by the AFN. So again, you can practice. It's a profession, but it's not dietetics. That's a slightly different progression. And again, you can progress to that. We've students that have progressed to UCC to do their masters there and have become a dietitian. But again, you actually have a profession after the 4 years. And if you want to progress, the doors should be quite open for you to do that, given your skill set from this program.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Eva. In terms of vet nursing, do I work with all types of animals, or is it more restricted?
Yeah, so good question. Basically, vet nurses get a chance to work with all sorts of animals. So placement is a significant part of the course throughout first, second and third year, and students head out to different veterinary clinics, and they get a chance to work with both companion small animals, exotics and large food animals. Students also spend a period of time in Gertrude, an agricultural college, about 40 minutes from Athlone. And over a 2-week period, they get a chance to do quite intensive animal handling with large animals there.
Great, thank you. The next question actually relates to my own area. So the question is, the applied psychology is a very high points. Do you think that being a TU now that the points will keep going up? So I might answer that, of course. The points at the moment are probably around the mid to high 400s. And the expectation is now that we have received, over the course of the summer, we received Psychological Society of Ireland accreditation. That is likely to push the points up. We don't see it being the points being dramatically. I think they'll creep up over the next 5 years. But in the shorter term, I think we're likely to see points sticking around somewhere around between 450 and 480. Hope that answers the question. Next question. Is age 50 plus too old to consider studying for a nursing degree, Des?
It's never too old to consider studying for anything, Ollie. And I suppose the one thing that I would say is that's part of the strategy with NIMBY, both for our mental health and for our general program, that there are a number of places reserved for mature applicants. So mature applicants is 23 plus. I think the oldest that I've ever had come in on the honours degree program was a 56-year-old. So we welcome all ages into the program, because I think it's that, and I think that's in keeping with the wider TUS philosophy of, you know, continual education and that educational ladder. So we welcome all, Ollie.
Great. Okay, this next question rather is about veterinary nursing again. So are veterinary nursing placements held during the summer or actually during the academic year? And if so, if they are held during the summer, would placement would you be placed in an area that's near to where you live? So, the student or the applicant rather that is answering this question is looking about having a 2-hour drive from college and is wondering if they could actually get a placement over the summer in vet nursing that might be actually closer to where they live.
Yeah, thanks, Ollie. So yeah, we have 30 weeks of placement over the course of the 3 years. In first and second year, vet nurses take their placement during the summer. That's an 8-week period from May to July. And then in third year, it's that placement occurs for 14 weeks during the final semester. So our third years right now are headed out for their final piece of placement from January onwards. Now we have a placement team which includes the lecturing staff that help students get placed, and there's very little work involved in that because there's such a demand for placement students from Athlone. And basically we try to work with students based on their location to make sure that they can get to get a clinic that's near where they live, so they can travel there conveniently.
Oh, that's very reassuring. Next question is, what jobs and progression routes are involved in social care and early childhood care? So I might pick this question up as well. Actually, at the moment in social care and in early years care, there's lots of jobs in the sectors, both those sectors. There's a demand. Social care is undergoing at the moment radical change in terms of becoming a profession as they aspire to be like other professions, for example, like nursing, etc., with a very clear career structure, and most importantly, paying conditions that are commensurate with the kind of responsibility, etc., that they have. So we're likely to see lots of new jobs emerging in the social care field already. There's lots of independent providers over and above the statutory providers of care in social care, so that the area is expanded for that reason. But also in early childhood care as well, it's going through a review process at the moment to look at where it sits between, if you like, childcare and education, and that profession is likely to, like social care, emerge in the next couple of years with very significant improvements in pay and working conditions. So lots of opportunities there in the future. Next question. What kind of placement and job opportunities might come from a level 6 pharmacy technician course?
Well, I'll deal with, there's two parts to that, Ollie, and if I may, I'll deal with the placement, which is the first part. So across the 2 years of the program, there's a full semester of placement. Okay, so there's a full 15 weeks of placement, and that 15 weeks is divided into both community. So in other words, that's what your community pharmacy in practice, and there's also a hospital base. So about 50% of the placement is in community and 50% is hospital-based placement there. And indeed, again, as with all of our other healthcare programs, there's a high demand for our graduates. So many of our graduates actually continue on. So we take over 32 graduates or 32 students of an annual intake. And of those, 26 of last year's are now in full-time employment, and the remainder have come on to our level 7 program or continued on to the degree level program, the level 7 program that's there.
Excellent. This is a nice factual question. How many places are there in microbiology?
So from year to year, we have between 20 and 25 students, and we haven't reached an upper limit from that. It's been pretty stable. It's a new degree, and this year again, it's at level 8. And this year again, we're introducing another new microbiology degree at level 7, a 3-year degree. So we haven't ran that yet, but the level 8 has between 20 and 25 students, and we can. So that's been pretty stable for the last couple of years.
Is there a cap on that at all, Cormac?
Not yet. No. Okay. I mean, we can easily handle more. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So again, the next question is, let's just give a little bit of variety if we can. I think we've covered a number of these. Des, what can I do with a general nursing degree? Like, what could I specialize in?
Well, that option is, and I'm not being flippant in the response, how long is a piece of string? Because the option there for an honours degree in general nursing, there's several pathways. First of all, within our own area, we offer specialisation in emergency, but we also provide a master's, or there's a taught master's pathway there in leadership and quality initiatives in healthcare. Going broader than that, there are also areas that they can choose to specialise in other parts of the register, such as with children's or midwifery if they so choose, or indeed in areas such as critical care. So the variety of specializations, I think part 2 of the register, which is specialist areas, last count, there's probably about 30 different areas of specialization there. And there's a majority of programs on offer there, from higher diploma, postgraduate diploma, and taught masters across the country. And because our degree is NIMBY accredited, it means that students are also eligible for registration any place within the EU. We have mutual recognition with the UK, and indeed our qualifications and registration from once registered with NIMBY or the Nursing Midwifery Board of Ireland, they're actually eligible to travel internationally as broad as Australia or the US for themselves.
Great. Here's another course on the microbiology degree. Is it the only one in the country?
There are other microbiology courses in the country, but ours, to our knowledge, is the only ab initio course, which means that from the onset, when students arrive at the Athlone campus, they are immersed in microbiology-related subjects from the onset. Rather, in other courses, you'd often get a sort of a generalised introduction to science subjects in first year. So just to kind of read through some of the subjects that students get in first year, I'm going to pull it up. We have subjects like biology for microbiologists, learning and development for higher education in microbiology. So all the subjects have quite a strong microbiological flavour to them, and that's quite unique.
Great, great. Again, this is a question about being a lab technician. If I want to do a job such as a lab technician, for example, in a school setting, what courses should I look at in terms of the menu that's been offered in the Faculty of Science?
I'm not 100% sure of the qualification that would be required to work in a school setting as a laboratory technician, but I suspect that any of our programs at possibly level 6, certainly at level 7 or level 8, would provide the skill set necessary to support teachers in delivering labs in a school setting. So, you know, either the applied science or, as I say, the pharmaceutical science, biotechnology, pharmacology degrees, all of which have a really, really strong laboratory training component, which will provide you with the skill set to take on such a position if you so wish.
And Carmel, if I could just follow up with that, if, for example, you look at the lab technicians that work in TUS Midlands, would they have done, for example, courses similar to the courses that are currently being offered at the moment?
Yeah, many of our current technicians that support our labs would have a degree in toxicology or biotechnology, or we have some technicians with a degree in chemistry or physics. So they would have been level 7 or level 8 degrees.
Great. And Cormac, you were going to come in as well there, were you?
I think Carmel covered all that.
Great. That's great. So just looking at the one other question that's come in is are any of the courses in science offered with electives alongside? Well, I'll begin that answer, and perhaps the rest of you might want to have supplementary. But I can speak with social care, for example. In social care, we have electives in year 3 in social care, in psychology, in applied psychology. We have electives in second year, and in early years care and education. At the moment, we don't have electives, and the plan is not to have electives going forward. And for the benefit of the others, I'm just wondering, is there anything else that any of my colleagues would like to add?
Yeah,
in terms
I
of
could come in there. I suppose we've, over the last number of years, have gone into the area, particularly with year 3, on both our nursing degree programs, where we offer electives in digital health, which is a new hot burning topic as with the emerging world out of, you know, the post-COVID era. And the other areas are with social engagement and volunteering. And indeed, we have had programs with overseas volunteering in areas such as Uganda. And finally, we also look at one on institutionalization and healthcare across Europe within the health systems. And that's enabled through an Erasmus program where students can actually take that elective and actually travel. Obviously, that has been restricted in the last year or so, but we're looking towards 2022-23 in the next academic year to re-engaging with that.
That's it. Sorry, did I hear something? Okay, well, I think we've covered most of the questions. Certainly there might be one or two that we didn't get to cover, but just in the interest of time, we're just about to wrap up. Can I just say thank you to my colleagues for answering the questions and thank you for the potential applicants who took the time to attend this evening and to lodge these questions. We're really appreciating your interest and your engagement with the programme. And just to say that please contact the relevant head of department. All that information is in the prospectus at the moment. So please feel free to contact any of the heads of department if you have any follow-up questions. So thank you on behalf of my colleagues in the Faculty of Science and Health.
Good evening, everybody, and you're all very welcome to this presentation this open evening for the Faculty of Business and Hospitality. We're going to have three very short presentations this evening from our various presenters, and there's always an option then, of course, to ask any questions. So I'd encourage you to, if during the presentations you have any questions, please feel free to post them, and either myself or my colleagues will answer them. So starting off first with the Department of Hospitality, Tourism, Leisure, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Brian O'Rourke, who's going to make a short presentation on that department and the programs therein. Over to you, Brian.
Hi, everybody. Good evening and welcome. Just going to make this as brief as possible. I know everyone is very busy and time is of the essence. I'm just going to give a quick overview of our department. And again, if there's any questions at the end, please feel free to ask them. So just to talk a little bit real quick about the industry, and obviously all things being equal and COVID not being here, the hospitality industry in Ireland is probably one of the biggest employers we have in the country, albeit it's very small and indigenous and small employers a lot of the time in small rural towns and that. So it's about 10% of Ireland's working population. Ireland generally, as usual, or usually gets about 10 million visitors per annum into the country, and it's worth about 7 billion euros into the economy. And again, a lot of the business is seasonal and it's spread right across the country. We have a big quality of products to be available of in Ireland. We have 18 Michelin star restaurants, and we have visitor centres. I'm sure you're all aware of some things like the Epic Centre, Guinness, Spike Island, Titanic Visitor Centre in Belfast as well. And again, some of the best hotels in the world. And if you've watched TV, you'll see that Ashford Castle was actually voted best hotel in the world there, not so distant past. Again, we've hosted lots of major sporting events like the Ryder Cup, etc. And we do host a lot of prestigious horse racing as well, and hopefully we'll do again in the near future. Again, we're opening up our tourist markets to new competitors and things to visitors from China, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, where flights are direct flights from Ireland to those countries. Some of the sectors within our department are in the country: sports, tourism, leisure, recreation. And again, we look at tourism, entrepreneurship and innovation, health, wellness and spa, hospitality, event and resort management, destination planning, policy and tourism leadership, transport services and infrastructure. And these are some of the things we'll be looking at within our courses. And again, it's very diverse and very eclectic. Some of the roles our students find themselves in when they leave AIT and TUS, marketing, communication, sales and PR, management, HR, leadership, coaching, accounting and revenue, food and beverage, culinary and front office as well. And we do find a lot of students who started off maybe in a role as a culinary student or a bar student, end up doing management courses and end up in senior roles in a lot of the major hotels within the country. Some of the programs we have on offer within the department: we have 3 higher certificates, level 6, and there are 2-year full-time courses: higher certificate in arts and bar supervision, higher certificate in business in sport and recreation, and the higher certificate in culinary arts. We also have a add-on year 3 BA in culinary arts, which can be done either in a part-time basis or full-time basis. And we also have a Bachelor of Arts in Hotel and Leisure Management, which has an overseas placement attached to that as well. Some of the CEO points we're looking at, which are obviously crucial at this time if you're in your Leaving Cert year: Bachelor of Arts, Honours in Hospitality Management placement, Bachelor of Business, Honours in Sports Management with the international placement, as I alluded to earlier on, and Bachelor of Arts Honours in the Culinary Entrepreneurship. And again, a lot of these courses, especially the final one there, you'd see a lot of people who've worked as chefs previously and have now diversified into more of the business and product development. And, you know, if you go to your supermarket shelves on a regular basis, you'll see that there's an onslaught of new products coming to the market all of the time. So why hospitality jobs? Well, all things being equal, as I said before, that things are going to change and obviously get better. Employment, I think, is going to get better within the industry. I think there's going to be more of demand for people working in hospitality. And some of the benefits, I suppose, of doing the courses in our department are, you'll see them highlighted in front of you there: paid work placements in all courses, which is very important. guaranteed option for travel, and again, that can be international travel. Competitive scholarships, and again, we get scholarships from various groups, hotel groups, restaurant groups, etc. Lucrative salaries for graduates, and again, I suppose above any of the industries and any of the courses in the university, I suppose you are going to be employed immediately. That's one of the things you're definitely guaranteed about, is a job after finishing a course in our department. The skills are transferable and they're practical, and I suppose they're real life and can be applied immediately. There's embedded qualifications. So within our courses, you'll be doing courses like food safety, health and safety, various things, albeit life-saving, etc. So you've got qualifications within the qualification. There's lots of progression routes to postgraduate studies right up to master's degree. And obviously we have state-of-the-art facilities. Our building was, we're currently housed in, was built in 2003, and it is constantly being updated. There you see some pictures of some of the field trips students have gone to in the past 2 or 3 years, Dubai, China, and Malaysia. Which have been proven to be very, very successful, and it really gives the students a real interest in overseas travel. Some of the things that are probably going to be with the work placement, work placement is compulsory in all courses. Work placements are paid. Links with world-renowned and major brand hospitality providers. There is a shortage of labour in culinary restaurants and bar, and there is the opportunity to go worldwide. So, I mean, a qualification from the hospitality department is almost like a passport to go anywhere in the world. And you are supported by lecturers who have all been working in the industry, so they've real-world experience, so you can learn from them in a real-world environment, I suppose. 3 messages to remember to leave you with. Excellent job prospects. All our courses have a compulsory work placement, excellent job opportunities, and we're developed with industry, and we always bring in industry panels to develop our courses. Superb student experience. All students on the course have opportunities to participate in international field trips, which I indicated there: Dubai, Malaysia, China. A study abroad, placement abroad, competitions, site visits, and I suppose the most important thing is all our skills are transferable. So whether you find yourself working in hospitality in 5 or 10 years' time, the skills you'll have learned in the first 2 or 3 years in TUS will stand to you. So if you need any other information, please contact your guidance counsellor. They have all our details. You can also browse our programs on the website, Instagram, and Facebook. Visit our open day and come to visit us at any time. You're free once COVID restrictions are lifted. Browse Action Recruitment, HOSCO, and Marie Logan Recruitment website. And again, if you want to come and study with us on a full-time basis, feel free to come and shadow any of the classes at any time. Just contact Dr. Tony Johnson. You'll see his email on the bottom to arrange a visit. So you can come and shadow any of the classes, any of the practical classes, hospitality management, bar, culinary, and you can come for a day or a week, whichever suits you. Thank you for your attention.
Great stuff, Brian. Thanks very much. I think you touched on, there's 2 questions that came up there.
Yeah.
First, I think you did answer it. Can I get other qualifications as a sports and recreation student? I think you did answer that students, there are embedded qualifications. Is that correct?
There are embedded qualifications, life-saving courses, health and safety. So they're all embedded, yes. Right. And again, just on that, once you do the higher cert, obviously, then there's a progression to the degree in sports as well.
So you can do the higher cert at level 6, the
yes,
order
and
level
then progress,
degree, level 8 then. And the second, just one viewer just wants quickly about the international placement. So it's been the students have taken international placements in a range of different countries and different locations. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you can pretty much.
Well, it's up. There's 2 ways of doing it. We can arrange it, but if it's somewhere that you have picked, for example, if you knew there was a restaurant in France or Germany that you wanted to do there, we'll facilitate that. But otherwise, we would have a bank of placement opportunities for the student.
Okay, we've quite a few. I mean, even separate to this, the department takes students on an optional international trip pre-COVID times, of course, which is great for students as well.
Yeah.
We had a question. I can answer this probably myself. One of the questions: do I get help in finding work placement? I think that's an emphatic yes across the board, whether it's in hospitality or whether it's in the other departments.
100%, Trevor. We've hundreds of employers there on board with us. Yeah.
Great stuff, Brian. Thanks for that. We're going to change over now I'm going to introduce to my colleague, Dr. Alison Sheridan, who's the Head of Department of Business and Management.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you very much, Trevor, for the introduction. Apologies. Hopefully you can see my slide in front of you. At this moment, it should be sharing, is it? Okay, apologies. Says it's sharing.
What Alison is setting up there is just Alison, and in the Department of Business and Management, there's a number of courses in business, which Alison's going to talk about, including digital marketing as well. So a range of courses from undergrad, CAO, all the way up to postgrad and masters.
Okay, I apologise. Perhaps. Thank you very much for that introduction. So as Trevor has indicated, I'm the Head of Department of Business and Management, and I just want to very briefly give you an overview of the programmes and leave a few minutes at the end for any questions that you might have. So first of all, within the Business and Management Department, oh, apologies, that was a little bit too quick. And within the Business and Management Department, we have three main areas of business programmes. We have a main business provision, so we offer programmes at level 6, level 7 and level 8 within the business provision, and they're general business programmes, which I'll speak about in a moment. And we also offer a Bachelor of Business in International Business Management, and that's at level 8. We also offer a Business and Law programme at level 8, a Bachelor of Business Honours in Business and Law, and that's very popular. And we offer programmes within digital marketing at both level 7 and level 8. So I suppose as a very general starting off point, if you're currently choosing where to go in your future, a key thing to think about is that a business programme provides you with a wide range of opportunities. So you can go to a whole range of different careers by starting off your career in business. So if you're unsure as to where your career future lies, a general business degree has a lot to offer. So our level 6 and our level 7 programmes provide progression to the level 8 programme. Our higher certificate in business, which is a 2-year level 6 programme, also provides the opportunity for those who may discover they have a greater interest in accounting to transfer into our accounting degree programme in the Department of Accounting, which Bernard will talk about in a moment. So it gives you options to move around. Our Bachelor of Business in International Business Management gives you the opportunity to do a work placement overseas. You can do that in Ireland or overseas. It also gives you an opportunity to spend a semester abroad. So that's a really nice way in which somebody might choose to study business, but to maybe do something that gives their CV something a little bit different by taking the international business option. Our general business programme, then the level 8, also has a work placement within it. So that's a full semester working in an environment where you gain real experience and get an opportunity to consolidate what you've already learned. So there are business programs. Within digital marketing, we find that there's really such an exploding range of opportunities within digital marketing at the moment. Our digital marketing programs are very popular, both at level 7 and at level 8. If you're unsure, if you want to spend a full 4 years in college, come and do the 3-year program, and you can still do an add-on year to bring you to the level 8. So our digital marketing programs give you a range of really practical experience and opportunities. Within the programs, we have embedded into the programs a range of certifications. So you get to do a range of certifications such as Google AdWords and HubSpot and all sorts of things that are really relevant to the industry at the moment. You also get to do a capstone project in the 4th year of the program if you remain on the 4-year program, and that's a really fabulous opportunity for students who want to gain some real life work experience. And finally, our business and law area, 4-year business and law program. This provides basically half and half business and law subjects and gives you the opportunity to complete all of the law modules that you need if you want to progress on to qualify as a solicitor or a barrister. So that's a very, very brief overview. I want to allow a few minutes for questions, if that's okay. So perhaps I'll pass to Trevor if he wants to moderate any questions that are there, or I can come back in at the end.
Great stuff. Thanks, Alison. Yes, we have a number of questions here. I can answer a couple of them myself, Alison, but I may have to. First one is, where can I do a work placement in the level 8 business course? I think the fair answer to that is pretty much anywhere, any business that's approved, any organisation really that'll take students. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We have about 75 employers on our database at the moment, and they range from very small employers to medium-sized and larger employers. They're based in the Athlone area, in Dublin and Galway, and they're based in London, and they're based all over the world. We have somebody going on their placement to the States this year, and we hope they won't get stranded there due to COVID. But we've a really, really broad range. Public, private sector, banks, credit unions, a whole range. Absolutely.
Okay. I have 2 questions on the Capstone project, and what is the Capstone project? So briefly, that's an end of program project that students do. And is the digital capstone in digital marketing, is the Capstone project in replacement of a dissertation? Do they actually do a dissertation in the Capstone project, or is it just a Capstone project?
That's perhaps a really good point for people coming onto the program. So we talk about something which is a capstone project. It means a project which sort of caps off or sort of solidifies all the learning that you've been engaged in over 3-4 years up to that point. What you do in the Capstone project is you get allocated to work on a particular project which is directly relevant to an employer. So an employer comes to us with a proposal, we match students with the employer, they work on the Capstone project in deciding strategy and then following up with the actions that are relevant. They do it while they're within the business faculty, so they have all the support of the lecturers, so they're still a full-time student, but they get real world experience in terms of what they need to do. So that's essentially what a Capstone project is. And yes, the good news is you don't have to do a dissertation or a big wordy project. The project that you're doing as part of that capstone is a really applied project. So it will talk about the strategy and the plan you had in place and what you actually did and what you learned from it. So it's really relevant hands-on stuff.
Okay, so just one question here on what's the difference between a business program at levels 7 and 8? I can answer that. It's a broad. So briefly, we have the ladder system. So you can do a level 6 certificate, a level 7 ordinary level degree, and a level 8 honours degree. So it's just kind of staging. So obviously, the level 8 degree would be more, at a higher level than a level 7 degree. So it's just following on. Which one do you recommend? I mean, you're probably asking the wrong people here. We would always, of course, nudge students towards the level 8 honours degree if they feel, it is a commitment for 4 years. But employers typically, in a lot of cases, maybe not all, look for a level 8 honours degree. So I personally would probably nudge people towards the level 8. I think some of my colleagues might have different views.
I was going to say, Trevor, I'd probably take the alternative view and say, if you're really uncertain, don't worry about signing up for a 4-year degree immediately. There's no problem at all. So you can come and take the 2-year or the 3-year option and progress with an additional year each time and still achieve the same outcome after 4 years if that's what you choose to do. And it gives you the real advantage that you can stop after 2 years, take your qualification and go into the workplace, or similarly after 3 years. So there's as much to say about taking the shorter program and then building on that. That's what the ladder system is all about.
Very much so. Is digital marketing very maths related? I don't believe it is. Sure, it's not.
No, absolutely not. All of our business programs have a small bit of either accounting or maths in the early stages just to give you grounding, but it's nothing that's very difficult at all. So you needn't be concerned. And then in terms of digital marketing, there's so much more of that program that is related to digital marketing applications, creation of websites, content creation, looking at SEO and analytics and digital concepts. It really moves away from anything that would be maths related in that sense.
Yeah. And another question on that, just before I wrap up. If I do not get my first choice of digital marketing, is the general business a good second option? I would have thought that kind of a broad business degree, whereas a digital marketing degree would be more marketing, more creative focused, whereas a business degree would be more broad. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, within the business degree, you can, of course, choose the marketing options or the marketing electives as you go along. So we would have international marketing, we'd have marketing management in the digital age. There are some elements within that program that will still give you those options. But I suppose what I would say to anybody who's concerned as to whether they get their points or not, if you're aiming firstly for our 4-year program of digital marketing, always remember to use your level 7 list as well and put down your level 7 digital marketing, because that gives you 2 options of getting an offer, and either one can give you the progression to a level 8. If you, after that, if you're not successful in getting either of those programs, the Bachelor of Business in general Bachelor of Business gives you lots of marketing options within it. So that's a good second choice, but not quite the same level of digital marketing.
Okay, there's one or two other questions that are more generic. I'll come back to them in a moment. We just want to go ahead and let Bernard present for the accounting, for anybody listening in, watching, who wants information on the accounting. So I'll introduce my colleague, Bernard here, who's a lecturer on the accounting program. Bernard, over to you.
Thank you, Trevor. Good evening, guys. Welcome to this CAO information evening. My name is Bernard. I'm a lecturer in the accounting department in TUS. I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about our accounting degree here. You are probably still considering what to do next year when you go to college. Let me highlight a number of benefits associated with studying accounting degree. First thing I want to talk about myself, actually, my journey. I came to TUS here back in 2005 and 2008. I did my degree in accounting and then trained with RBK accountants in Athlone town. After 7 years working in practice and industry companies, I'm back where I started and teaching. So when talking about accounting degree in TUS, I'm not biased at all. Our Bachelor's of Arts in Accounting degree is a fast-track 3 years level 8 degree. And students also have options to do 1 year placement work. It is a hugely respected course. We obtained the maximum exemptions from all professional accounting bodies. Our staff have extensive industry experience. We have created a strong, supportive environment for our students. We established strong links with professional bodies. We're the first university in Ireland to offer a cloud accounting qualification to our accounting students, which jointly supported by SAGE and ACCA. After you have obtained your accounting degree, you can move on to do your professional exams with ACCA, ACA, CPA, or CIMA. Our level 8 degree entitles you to access masters, which are usually 1 to 2 years course, depends on whether you need a conversion course. Let me introduce some benefit of choosing an accounting degree. Accounting is the backbone of every single business. It is also important for your personal self. For example, we have a module called Management Accounting in first year. Students learn budgeting in this module. A lot of students told me that they use the techniques, templates they learned from this subject to manage their personal finance and achieve their financial goals. Second thing I want to mention is that accounting is not boring. A lot of people think accounting and accountants are boring. They're sitting behind the computers all day, every day. That is simply not true. As you can see here in the picture 1, this is a sports day we have with RBK, actually in the international arena here, okay? And we're doing some serious accounting works here now. And the second picture is a Christmas gathering a couple of years ago. The only boring person was the cameraman. Additionally, I want to say money matters. I have this chart which shows 3 different professions pay level according to job.ie. The blue line here is the pay for accountants. They normally starting at 24,000 euro after they got their degree, but after they are fully qualified, their pay will increase to 35, 37. And then as you progress and accumulate more experience, your pay should increase to 50,000, 70,000, and more. The purple line here represents the pay for software engineers. It may look higher, but one thing they don't tell you is once you reach certain age, your option is very limited. After you graduated with our accounting degree, you have lots of choice. You can work in audit department, accounts department, corporate compliance, the list goes on. If you're an accountant, you have options to travel and work in other countries. Some of our graduates are working in UK, New Zealand, all around the world. Let's meet Stephen. He is the Irish guy beside the happy Chinese guy in this photo here. He is currently working as a finance manager for Sydney Football Club. Thank you for listening. Here's our contact information. Feel free to take a picture with your phone of this screen and contact us anytime. Even it's just a CAO question or you decide to go to other college, we are always here to help. Thank you.
Great stuff, Bernard. Thank you so much for that. Just a few questions coming in here. I could take the answers there. What is the difference between completing the accounting in 3 years instead of 4? And the bottom line there is the placement. So students can take an extra year, which is taken in year 3. I'll just emphasize, you can do an extra year, make it a 4-year program, and that incorporates 1 additional year of 6 to 9 months of placement. And again, like other programs that we said earlier, we will help you find a place. We will help, working with employers and things like that. We have plenty of contacts. Another question there, how long does it take to qualify as an accountant? 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
And 2 questions here. Sorry, how long does it take? 3 years. So basically you do the 3-year program in Athlone, then you do a further 3 years in practice to become a qualified accountant. Yeah. And what exemptions are available? We have 9 exemptions available. Bernard, do you want to maybe talk some of those?
Yeah, I'm qualified accountant with ACCA. So if you obtain the degree from TUS here, you will be exempt you will have the maximum exemption from ACCA, which you only have to do the professional level exams. And with Chartered, I believe once you complete our master degree, you will have the maximum exemptions. And my colleague Brandon McClerney is a qualified CPA accountant, and I believe we have the maximum exemption for CPA from CPA as well after you get your degree, right, Brandon?
Yeah, we get exemptions from 10 out of the 15 CPA exams, although CPA are currently updating their syllabus and we're in the process of renegotiating the exemptions with those, but we'd be confident that we're able to maintain maximum exemptions.
Yeah.
So yeah, 10 out of 15.
Maximum exemptions for CPA. Thanks, Brendan. We've another question here. Where's it gone? Postgrad, another question is what master's programs do we have? This is a more generic question. Other than digital marketing, we have an MBA, we have a digital marketing masters, we also have a data analytics masters, and of course we have the masters in accounting as well. So there's a range.
And a master of business, just add to that list.
Oh, sorry, he did. Sorry, the master of business as well. Thank you, Alison. Just a couple of other questions here. I'm just going to try and find out, do many graduates go on to the Masters in Accounting or do they go straight into practice? I'd say quite a good percentage. It depends, to be honest. A good percentage go on into practice. Some go to industry, some go on to the Masters program. So it depends on the year, depends on the cohort, to be honest. But we do have a good percentage to go on to continue the Masters. And remember, the Masters is only 1 year. So technically in 4 years, you can have your level 8 honours degree and your master's qualification as well. So that's why the 3-year program in accounting is quite attractive. Grant, so do we have any other accounting questions? I just have a few questions here, and if back to the business. Is international business management similar to business degrees in global business, Alison? Would that be?
It's somewhat similar. Yes, we have in the early years of the program we have very general business subjects, but in year 3 and year 4 there are some subjects that are global business. Absolutely, so it's similarities. And if that student or that potential student wants to drop me an email, feel free to do so. alison.sheridan@tus.ie, and I can answer that in more detail if they would like some more information.
There's another question here. Do you have general broad entry degree in business? We do, and correct, we would have covered that there earlier. I hope that answers your question. Just a broad general degree in business. 2 questions on the digital marketing. Are there embedded qualifications within the digital marketing degree?
Yes, there are certifications that we get from Google. So Google Analytics, HubSpot, AdWords, and so on and so forth. So they're embedded into the program. What we do is we facilitate students in getting the relevant knowledge that they need to complete those assessments. It's optional, whether they do some other assessments on top of that as well, but we give them the key knowledge. But they're part of it, yes.
Some questions here around salaries. I don't know if we have salary details for digital marketers handy. Maybe Barbara showed one on art marketing, but do you have any handy on digital marketers?
I don't have it. It depends to some degree whether you start in a multinational company or whether you start in maybe a smaller company. And the salaries can vary quite a lot. But we do have access to salary surveys. Again, if somebody wants some further information on that, we can provide it.
Just a broad question, very quickly. Is a level 8 more detailed, difficult, or is the extra year the only difference? It's kind of both. It is it's a higher level, so therefore, is it more difficult? Arguably, it is.
I think when it starts off, Trevor, maybe it would be fair to say that during the first 2 years, it's very similar because a lot of our programs in the first 2 years are taught at level 6. So if somebody's concerned about will it be more difficult from the minute they come on the program, it won't. They'll have that opportunity to progress through first year and second year, and that gives them the grounding to then be ready to move on to their studies in year 3 and year 4. So if somebody's concerned, don't be concerned. There's lots of supports. We've business tutors. We've lots of people to help you in any areas that you might need help in, so that can smooth that progression up to level 7 and level 8.
Brian, a quick question for you. Are there scholarships available for prospective culinary students? I believe there are some scholarships, is that correct?
There are some, yeah. There are some. We have the Anua group who own the Radisson Hotel Group. They sponsor some sponsorships or scholarships every year. Yep. Yeah.
Details on our website. Is that correct? And final question, is the digital marketing degree balanced in terms of business and creative modules? I think that's fair to say it is balanced.
Yes, it's 50% business, 50% digital marketing for starters, and progresses more so as it goes along. Yes.
Right, so listen, thank you everybody to our presenters. Sorry, very quickly a question. Do you have a data analytics undergraduate degree? No, we don't, I'm afraid. It's all postgrad. Thank you very much to all our presenters from hospitality, Brian, from business, Alison, and from accounting, Bernard and Brendan behind the scenes as well. Thank you all. I hope those of you viewing it from home got something out of this. Always remember our contact details are on the TUS Athlone website. Excuse me. It's still ait.ie, but it will be changing. But for now, all our contact details there if you have any further questions. And hopefully we'll see some of you in September on campus.
Take care, guys.